Prince Andrew's troubles, the scandalous details revealed. Why are the royals always caught with their hands in the cookie jar? Fame is a double-edged sword that ensures that the person who gets the glory also receives the shame, as is the story with most of the controversy surrounding the British royal family. The British royals are no strangers to secrets and scandals, although they would prefer to keep their less glorious moments out of the public eye. Well, being on the public radar means everyone's interested in their business. While this is good for their charity work, the exposure they enjoy comes back to bite them when they become the subject of scandalous reports. This is likely how Prince Andrew, King Charles' younger brother, felt when he was accused of sexual assault by a young woman. Number 1. Explanation of the Prince Andrew scandal. Virginia Robert Giuffre initially declared in her 2009 lawsuit against Jeffrey Epstein that she was assaulted and abused by Jeffrey Epstein and some of his associates, including a royal family member. She made this statement under a Jane Doe 102 alias, and in 2015, she proceeded to name Prince Andrew to be one of her abusers. Since the prince was accused in a defamation case against Epstein, the comment was ignored. However, it marked the beginning of a tumultuous experience for the Duke of York. Prince Andrew's association with Epstein was already a source of controversy, and the story of the sexual abuse of a minor did not benefit his reputation and work as a public figure. Prince Philip initially denied knowing the lady in question. That is until a picture surfaced featuring the two posing together. Since the case was filed in a U.S. court, the royals did not have control over it. So both U.S. and U.K. publications had a field day with the story. Number 2. Importance of the scandal within the royal family. Although Prince Andrew is currently not married, and his daughters do not seem to be grievously affected by these events, the British royal family tells a different tale. According to The Conversation, there's a difference between a house of brands and a branded house. The parent family of a house of brands is free to operate and function independently of its brand, whereas royal houses, like the House of Windsor, is a branded house, and the activities of each member is an expression of the house. The royal family thrives on the love and support of the UK people, and by extension citizens around the world, so the independent acts of each member are expected to benefit the brand and represent the traditional values of British society. Unfortunately, the reverse is occasionally the case throughout history. The royals battled scandals for centuries, and Queen Elizabeth II really tried hard to put an end to this trend. She wanted the younger generation to see the monarchy in a good light and not as a scandal-infested organization with no regard for British values. The Prince Andrew scandal rose to prominence in 2021, the year Queen Elizabeth II was preparing for the Platinum Jubilee of her reign. Number 3. The allegations of sexual misconduct. In August 2021, a lawsuit against the Duke of York was filed at the U.S. Federal Court of New York. The plaintiff, Ms. Virginia Robert Giuffre, claimed that Prince Andrew had sexual relations with her against her consent. According to Virginia, in the early 2000s, she was at the young age of 17 when this incident occurred. She claimed it happened 3 separate times in different locations: Maxwell's house in London, Epstein's house in New York, and the Little St. James, U.S. Virgin Islands. Records show that the prince and Virginia were on Epstein's private jet. In one of the above locations, Virginia Robert Giuffre was allegedly abused at an orgy with other underage girls who were trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein. The media and other information channels quickly soaked up the news, and the scandal became viral. Number 4. Overview of the accusations. In addition to the accusations, Giuffre's report stated that Epstein paid her £1,500 to have sex with the prince. As a sex trafficking victim, she feared the repercussions for failure to comply. She also stated that the prince was aware of her age and the fact that she was not a willing participant in these encounters. In 2021, she sued the Duke of York for sexual assault and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Her lawyers insisted that the experiences caused her severe and lasting emotional distress. Among the many charges brought against the Duke was an accusation of first-degree rape brought under the New York State's Child Victims Act. Lawyers for Miss Giuffre filed the civil suit and the court documents claiming she was lent out for sexual purposes by convicted sex offender Epstein while she was still a minor under U.S. law. The lawsuit specified that Miss Giuffre was forced to have sexual intercourse with Prince Andrew against her will, and lists offenses including rape in the first degree. Other allegations include battery and intentional infliction of emotional distress, sexual assault 3 times when she was age 17 in London, New York, and on Epstein's U.S. private island in the Caribbean. Sexual misconduct, rape in the 3rd degree, forcible touching, sexual abuse in the 3rd degree, and sexual abuse in the 1st degree make up all the charges against Prince Andrew. Ms. Giuffre's lawsuit stated, "In this country, no person, whether president or prince, is above the law, and no person, no matter how powerless or vulnerable, can be deprived of the law's protection." 20 years ago, Prince Andrew's wealth, power, position, and connections enabled him to abuse a frightened, vulnerable child with no one there to protect her. It is long past the time for him to be held accountable. Number 5. The allegations of other women. To add fuel to the raging fire of this scandal, in September 2021, a clubber claimed she saw the Duke and Virginia together at Tramp nightclub in central London. She was all too happy to testify against the prince after she gave her written statement to the FBI. However, her claims of remembering only the year and not the exact date posed a bit of a problem. Prince Andrew's case was not helped when documents associated with defamation against Maxwell revealed that another lady, Johanna Sjoberg, had a similar experience. Johanna allegedly stated that in Epstein's mansion, the Duke groped her breast. At this stage, Prince Andrew was staring defeat in the face, and reports against him continued mounting. During the court case in 2019, a U.S. publication in New York, The New Republic, shared details of an email exchange between John Brockman and Evgeny Morsov from September 2013. Brockman mentioned seeing a British man nicknamed Andy receiving a foot massage from 2 Russian women at Epstein's New York residence in September 2010. He then added that he realized that the recipient of Irina's foot massage was His Royal Highness, Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. These allegations and scenarios did nothing to make Prince Andrew look less guilty, and considering that he was nicknamed Randy Andy in his youth, the future of the Duke as a public figure was not looking good. Number 6. Prince Andrew's response to the allegations. Since 2015, after Giuffre's allegations became public, Prince Andrew's persistently denied knowing Virginia Giuffre. He also denied the allegations brought against him. The court ruled out Giuffre's allegations as immaterial and impertinent. During the 2015 lawsuit, Buckingham Palace released a statement saying, "Any suggestions of impropriety with underage minors by the Duke was categorically untrue." The palace repeated this statement in 2019 and added, "It emphatically denied that the Duke of York had any form of sexual contact with Virginia Roberts. Any claim to the contrary is false and without foundation." Prince Andrew also added, "At no stage during the limited time I spent with Epstein did I see, witness, or suspect any behavior of the sort that subsequently led to his arrest and conviction." However, Prince Andrew's claim of not knowing Virginia Giuffre was refuted when a popular picture surfaced showing Prince Andrew with his hand on the waist of a young Giuffre. The third person in the picture is none other than Ghislaine Maxwell. According to the report, Giuffre handed the original photo over to the FBI during the 2011 investigation against Epstein and Maxwell. Number 7. His interview with the BBC. On November 14, 2019, the BBC's Newsnight had an interview with Prince Andrew at Buckingham Palace. In the interview, Prince Andrew narrated his interactions with Jeffrey Epstein. He met Epstein through Maxwell in 1999, but a 2011 interview with Andrew's private secretary states that Epstein and Andrew met years before that. The Duke acknowledged his relationship with Epstein and did not regret it. In his words, "The people that I met and the opportunities that I was given to learn either by him or because of him were very useful." Number 8. The controversial statements made by Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew claimed to be with his daughters after attending a party at Pizza Express, working with his eldest daughter, Princess Beatrice, on one of the days he was accused of allegedly having sex at Maxwell's place. He said that he did not remember ever meeting Giuffre or seeing the top floors of Maxwell's residence. He further aired his doubts about the genuineness of the photograph. He doubted that it was his hand that was on young Virginia Roberts' waist. According to him, investigations regarding the authenticity of the photograph had been carried out, but the results were inconclusive. He further discounted Giuffre's story, where she claimed they danced in tramp and that the prince was sweating profusely. His response to these allegations was that he temporarily lost the ability to sweat due to an adrenaline overdose during the Falklands War. However, medical personnel told the Times that adrenaline overdose typically causes excessive sweating in humans. The Duke of York did admit that he had a 3-day stay in Epstein's mansion. He described the location as a convenient place to stay, but has since regretted his decision. In his words, "I kick myself daily for the decision because it was not something that was becoming of a member of the royal family," adding that he let the side down. His intention for staying in the house was to inform Epstein that he would be cutting ties off permanently. Still, one question comes to mind. Did he need 3 days to cut ties with Epstein? Things definitely don't add up. Well, the prince defended himself by saying his visit was the honorable and right thing to do. He added that one of his flaws was that he was too honorable. This comment makes us wonder just how disconnected the prince is from reality. Number 9. Criticisms of Prince Andrew's response. As expected, his last comment did not win the favor of the people, and neither did the interview as a whole. He received harsh criticism from the media and the public in the UK and across the globe. A tweet by Charlie Proctor, editor of the Royal Central website, described it as nuclear explosion level bad, while public relations and crisis consultant Mark Borkowski said, "It was like watching a man in quicksand with no hope of a line to get him out." Mark further added that if any students of PR were following this case, this is how not to do it. It was described as the worst public relations crisis for the royal family since the death of Diana, Princess of Wales. The Guardian's Catherine Bennett wrote, "The royal family owes Princess Diana a posthumous apology. Her Panorama experience is now the second most catastrophic, ill-advised royal broadcast ever made." Hannah Bardell, MP, aptly termed the interview as sickening and stated, "Prince Andrew has no remorse or regard for the women abused and does not see the problem with being pals with Epstein. The systematic abuse of power is unbelievable." The Guardian wrote, "It was an exchange that summed up a grotesque mismatch between the Duke of York's language and demeanor, and the gravity of the allegations, which continue to surround him, between the obtuse self-absorption of a prince and what we know of the appalling sexual exploitation of teenage girls by his friend." Number 10. The links to Jeffrey Epstein. If you're unaware, Jeffrey Epstein is an American-based sex offender who was charged with 1 count of sex trafficking and 1 count of conspiracy to commit sex trafficking. He had connections in both major U.S. political parties and allegedly met Prince Andrew in 1999 through Ghislaine Maxwell, who's the socialite daughter of newspaper tycoon Robert Maxwell. The trio was seen enjoying their holiday at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach, Florida in 2000. Epstein and Maxwell also attended a royal party that marked Prince Andrew's 40th birthday, Princess Anne's 50th birthday, the Queen Mother's 100th birthday, and Princess Margaret's 70th birthday. 8 months after Epstein's jail sentence in 2008, Prince Andrew was seen walking with the sex offender in Central Park. The 3-day visit to Epstein, which Prince Andrew mentioned in the BBC interview, was caught on camera in December 2010. The public was not impressed with Prince Andrew's association with Epstein, which resulted in his resignation from being a UK trade envoy. Prince Andrew's ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, also knew Epstein and actually borrowed a large sum of money from him. When news of Epstein's sexual offenses became public, Sarah Ferguson immediately apologized for her association with him to the general public. She confirmed that Prince Andrew was aware of the loan. Number 11. The investigation. Investigations into the claims of Virginia Robert Giuffre were conducted on both sides of the Atlantic. After a series of investigations, UK authorities announced that the result of their investigation did not incriminate the Duke of York. However, the US continued its investigations, and the Duke was supposed to appear for a cross-examination, which would be conducted by the plaintiff's attorney. Other members of the royal family were expected to be interviewed as well, particularly members of his immediate household, for example, his ex-wife and his 2 daughters. When it came to Prince Andrew's claims of not being able to sweat, Virginia's lawyers, Boyes and Macaulay, asked the Duke to provide medical evidence to back them up. He was also required to provide evidence of his visit to the Pizza Express, which he claimed in his BBC interview. Giuffre's lawyers had definitely completed their homework and reportedly had 6 witnesses ready to testify in their favor. On January 14, 2022, Giuffre's lawyer, Boyes, showed interest in seeking out Prince Andrew's previous assistant, Robert Olney, as well as Shukri Walker, who previously claimed to see Virginia Giuffre and Prince Andrew at Tramp nightclub in central London. January 15, 2022, brought a weak retaliation from Prince Andrew's lawyers. They planned to interview Giuffre's psychologist, Dr. Judith Lightfoot, and her husband, because Prince Andrew stated that she may suffer from false memories. His lawyer's request was met with a huge amount of backlash. He was accused of gaslighting after his lawyers asked for Giuffre's mental health records. In February 2022, Prince Andrew's lawyers requested the original copy of the infamous picture of Andrew and Giuffre. The request was rejected because Giuffre didn't have it. She had given the original copy to the FBI in 2011. Her lawyers and the FBI both stated that Prince Andrew was not cooperating with the authorities. Number 12. The impact on the royal family. The scandal of Prince Andrew's sexual escapades does not bode well for the royal family. It puts their credibility at risk and reduces the trust British citizens have in the monarchy. As a branded house, Buckingham Palace would broadcast the glowing activities of other beloved public figures like Prince William and his wife Catherine. Although the magnitude of these accusations is not something easy to ignore, a scandal of this magnitude from a senior royal is a deadly weapon in the hands of those who hate the monarchy. Number 13. The Queen's response. The Queen, before her death, wanted to leave a clean reputation for the royal family in her wake. The scandals that were rampant during the days of the elder royals gradually became a thing of the past. She knew the institution would likely not be able to survive another scandal of this magnitude. She ensured the public knew that Prince Andrew would step away from public duties. In addition, he was stripped of his HRH title and his military titles. The palace later confirmed that the Duke had resigned from his 230 patronages. Number 14. The reaction of other members of the royal family. Other members of the royal family were quiet about this incident and chose to go about their daily lives as if nothing happened. The royal family was sharing Christmas cheer in December of 2021 as an effort to distract citizens from the sex scandal. The Duchess of Cambridge was performing on Christmas Eve in Westminster Abbey, and Princess Eugenie released an adorable photo of her son's christening. However, the black sheep of the family, Prince Harry, was the only royal who slammed Prince Andrew for his shameful act. The scandal deeply harmed the reputation of Prince Andrew. Apart from losing his position as a working royal, he also lost his position as a chancellor at a university and the sponsorship of a credible company. In addition to this, he may have to sell his Swiss chalet restaurant for him to pay a settlement to Giuffre's charitable organization. What do you think about Prince Andrew's scandal? Do you think he's been punished enough or deserves more? Let us know in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. Please like our video and subscribe so you don't miss any others.